Welcome to the Jim Florentine Comedy Metal Midgets podcast on riotcast.com. Christmas is coming up. It's always a problem getting a guy a gift, whether it's another guy or even a girl. Like, what am I going to get my husband, my boyfriend, or just a guy friend? You're like, oh, shit, I got to get him something this year. And you're like, do I get him a shirt? And he's not going to like this. He really doesn't care. I'm just getting him a gift. Perfect gift to get for a guy is razors. Why not? Every guy needs them. Every Christmas, I tell my mom, get me either socks or razors because I need both. But now you don't have to go to a drugstore and get those shit. You know, it's tough to just get like a 3-pack from the friggin' drugstore and go, hey, here's your Christmas present. Harry's razors are the ones you need this Christmas. Harry'sRazors.com is a special holiday offer. Harry's is gifting all listeners of my show $5 off with the promo code JimFlow in lowercase, then holiday, all capital letters. Put that promo code in. Even those who are already loyal Harry users will get $5 off the Winter Winston set with my promo code lowercase JimFlow, capital letters holiday. You'll get a razor, 3 quality blades, and a tube of their foaming shave gel or shave cream for just $25. Chrome razors, 3 high. I used the razors before. They're really good, really solid razors. You get 3 blades with them too. Nice gel, shaving cream, and plus it's already wrapped. You don't have to wrap it. What guy knows how to wrap gifts? It's a pain in the ass. Takes a lot of time. Someone's just going to rip it right open. They already got it wrapped for you, and shipping is always free. Is that beautiful? Go to harrys.com. Put in the promo code lowercase JimFlow, capital letters holiday. And Harry's will give all listeners to my show $5 off the Winter Winston set. All right, so harrys.com. Check them out. It's really cool shit. It comes in a nice box. You know what I mean? Perfect gift. No guy's going to go, what'd you get me this? Like, oh, perfect. Oh, this is cool. I need razors. Oh, this looks good. That's what they're going to do when they open it. Awesome. I could use this. That's the response you're going to get when you get harrys.com. All right? Go get the razors. It's really good shit. I've used them. I back them. All right. I got T-shirts, podcast T-shirts. They're on my website, jimflorentine.com. Check them out if you can. I got them in girls and guys, all sizes. They will get shipped out promptly if you get one. We shipped out a bunch the last couple of weeks. It says Jim Florentine. It says Comedy Metal Midgets Podcast or whatever. Comedy Metal Midgets and then Jim Florentine Podcast underneath. Simple, black, white lettering. No crazy shit. None of that. So check them out up on the website. And then also... I mentioned a couple times about a mailing list. If you guys want to join my mailing list, go to comedymetalmidgets@gmail.com. That's the email address for the podcast. But also put your city and state. Some people put, I want to be on Jim's mailing list, but didn't tell me where they live. So when I'm doing a gig in that state, that's, I can notify you then. But if I don't know where the fuck you live, it's tough to go, hey, I'm playing in New Jersey. And you're like, well, why are you sending me this? I'm in San Francisco. So just put your city and state, and then you'll get a notice when I'm coming to town. All right, January, I got some dates in Atlanta, Fort Myers, Florida, and Dallas, Texas. All the shit's on my website. All right, let's start the show. This week is not going to be a lot of rage and anger. Probably none. There's been, the last 5 or 6 weeks there has been. Every once in a while, you lay low. I'm still building up for more awful Facebook posts. The baby names is coming, new awful baby names. And vanity license plates, I got a ton of them. So those will be coming up in the next few weeks. But what I really wanted to do this week, and I thought about it was the podcast, is do a tribute to the late, great Dimebag Darrell, Abbott from Pantera. Any heavy metal fans out there know exactly who he is. Even if you don't, it's an interesting story about him and everything that went down. Just a crazy, crazy way he died. Well, December 8th, this December 8th, 2014, will be 10 years. The 10-year anniversary of his death, where he was playing in a rock club in Columbus, Ohio. They just started the set, and some maniac came in with a gun under his jacket, walked through the front door, didn't pay, just walked by everybody, walked right on stage, and they thought, I guess he was going to jump off the stage and like stage dive, and then they were going to chuck him out. He was a big guy, he used to be like a lineman in college, a football team, and under his jacket he had a gun, and he went over and shot Dimebag in the head like 3 or 4 times. He wound up killing, I think, 3 or 4 people, road manager, someone in the audience, injured like 6. Just a brutal thing, man. No, I mean, just to get shot on stage. Like, you would think that would happen more often, where someone would sneak in a gun and shoot somebody, well, even at a sporting event or a concert, and just shoot from wherever they are in a seat or something like that. And that's never happened. This guy just walked up there. They had no idea. He was angry. Supposedly, I don't know. We don't know. The guy got killed that night. Luckily, somebody was on a radio reporting what was going on. There was an undercover cop in the area, just really close by, and heard the radio, the police radio. This guy shooting up a place, a rock club, and he went in there with a shot. He had a shotgun on him, and they pointed out the guy who he was. He had another guy, one of the road guys that worked for Dimebag's band, in a headlock, reloading his gun, ready to kill him, and the guy just went in and shot him and killed him. The guy that did all this damage. But a fucking brutal, because the guy, Dimebag was actually a friend of mine, and that's why I wanted to do this podcast about it, because it hit me personally. It was just horrific, man. One of the nicest guys in the business. Even if you don't know anything about heavy metal, if you ever, anyone that knows about it, you hear stories about this guy, just a great guy. It was all about the fans, always hanging out with the fans. You walked in a room, he made you feel like you were number one, even if he didn't know you. It was just amazing stories about this guy. You go backstage afterwards to go say hi, like, maybe a friend knows him, and he brings you back to meet him, and he just comes right over to you and starts talking to you, gives you a drink. Instead of just going, hey, how you doing? Yeah, nice to meet you, and you're just walking away. None of that. The guy was fucking phenomenal, man. Just an amazing human being. Me growing up as a metalhead, I was always a Pantera fan. Saw him a bunch of times. And of course, I wanted to meet him. And, you never know how it's going to happen. What I used to do is when I used to go in town, like when I was doing comedy, and I would go on the local radio, I would always, if I knew a band lived in that town, I'd always mention their name on the radio, hoping it would get back to them, and then they would come see my show. It worked in Austin, Texas. This guy, Jason McMaster, used to play in Dangerous Toys, and there was this band, Broken Teeth. He's still with this band, Broken Teeth. They're really good. Kind of got like an AC/DC vibe to him. You should check him out if you're into AC/DC, Broken Teeth. Well, I got into them, and I was playing in Austin. I started mentioning his name on the radio and the band, and somehow it got back to him, and he came out to my show. We became friends. So this is, I guess, 2003. Yeah, because I only knew Dimebag for 2 years, I think. Year and a half. Last year and a half or 2 years of his life. Yeah, probably 2003. I'm playing at like the Improv Comedy Club in Dallas, and I'm on the radio talking. And I heard that Dimebag and his brother Vinnie Paul, the drummer in the band, I heard they were big comedy fans. They used to always go to comedy shows. So I'm like, oh, cool, maybe they'll come out to my show. I get a message. Now, this is after, if people don't know the story, Pantera, huge band, arena band. Everybody loved them. They broke up. The singer and the bass player left. And Dimebag and his brother Vinnie started their own project, a band called Damage Plan. They hung around for like a year and a half, couldn't get it together, and they just said, fuck it, we're going our separate ways, we're starting our own band. So they started a new band to get back on the road, get back out there, start playing again. A lot of the Pantera fans were upset, man, because it was, everybody loved that band, and just, it was just too much bad blood there, they needed a break. And the singer of the new band, Damage Plan, Pat Lackman, contacted me and said, hey, I see you're in Dallas. I'm a big fan or whatever. And I told Vinny and Dime, you're going to be there at the club, so we're going to come down. So this all this shit happened in like 2 days. He goes, yeah, we're going to try to make the show Saturday night. Hopefully we'll see you there. I'm like, okay, cool. I just got an email from the guy. All right, great. So I'm hoping. Cut to Saturday night. It's like the second show. And the manager of the club comes in. He goes, hey, the guys from Pantera here. They're sitting right in the front. I'm like, holy shit, they're here. He's like, yeah, there's like 20 of them. I'm like, and I look out there, like from the back of the room, I just see a bunch of cowboy hats right in the front. I'm like, holy shit, they're in the audience. Now I'm just so nervous. I'm like, holy shit, I'm going to be performing in front of Dimebag and Vinnie, my idols that I've seen a million times in arenas and everything else. And they're going to be at my comedy show, at my little fucking horse and pony show that I'm doing. So I walk out there. I get up on stage and I'm like, you had to acknowledge them. They're legends in Dallas. Everybody loves them. They always hang out. Everybody knows they're local. Always still live there, in the Dallas area. And people always like that. They never just moved to L.A. or anything like that. So I go, hey, give it up for the guys at Pantera, Dimebag, Vinnie, and, the new band's here, everybody. The place is going nuts. Dimebag stands up and he goes, here, dude, here's a shot, man. Good meeting you. So he hands me a shot of Jägermeister. He's in like he's right on the edge of the stage. And I take it and I made a rookie move. I said, I go, thanks, Dime. I go, but I don't drink before I do my shows. I'll drink it afterwards. And I put it on the stool on the stage. The whole crowd starts booing me because they want me to do the shot. And Dimebag's just standing there, just staring at me, waiting for me to do it. And I'm like, oh, fuck, man, because I don't like, especially a shot. I could drink a beer on stage, but a shot just does something to me. It throws me off a little. I've done it before, and I don't like the feeling. I'll do them afterwards, absolutely. But before a show, I don't know. I got to be sharp up there. It just doesn't make me sharp. It makes me, I don't know. It doesn't work for me. So what does he do? I put it on. I'm just standing there. Crowd's booing me, and then when they finally calm down, he pours another one. He goes, you know what? Fuck it. Now you're doing a double. And he hands me 2 shots. So now I take the one, and I do 2 shots of Jaeger before I even start my show. And the crowd is going crazy because I'm doing Jaeger. I look on their table. They had a table, 20 people. One of those long tables. There's probably 50 shot glasses on there, 70 beers, fucking all the shit. Everybody's got friggin' tattoos and cowboy hats. I'm like, this is unbelievable. So we finished the show. And he's like, hey, man, we want you to hear it. The new record, that Damage Plan record, wasn't even out yet. It was still about 3 months before it was even released. And it was done. And he's like, and they own a strip club. The thing in Dallas, Dimebag and Vinnie owned a strip club called the Clubhouse. It was famous whenever rock stars were in town. After the show, they'd always go to the Clubhouse. And Vinnie and Dime would always entertain them. They had a big table in the back. And you just hang out there and get completely fucked up. There's legendary stories about that place. So they go, look, let's go to the Clubhouse. Me, and the other comedians that were on the show, and our girlfriends. I think we all had girlfriends at the time. So they're like, come on, let's get in the limo. They had a limo. What those guys did, and what fucking professionals. They like to drink. Vinnie and Dime love to drink all the time. But what they did is they bought an old limousine, and they had a fan that was a fan of the band or whatever like that. And he would keep the limousine at his house, and whenever they want to go out drinking, they'd call a guy up and pay him $150 for the night, and he'd drive him around. So they never got behind the wheel when they were drinking. Though that's a fucking professional move. When you hear these sports guys making $16 million a year, and they're driving their own car back from a club and get a DWI or kill somebody. It's like, what are you doing, dude? How do you not just even pay for a cab or do whatever? These guys bought a limo, had a fan drive, we'd call them up. Hey, we're going out drinking tonight. Come by with the limo, no problem. So we get outside the comedy club, and we're all in the limo. And they go, you want to hear the new music? We're like, yeah. So the whole band's in the limo with us, me and the other comics and our girlfriends. And they're cranking the music on 15. And they're all headbanging and singing to it. It was the fucking weirdest thing. Watching Dimebag play air guitar. Vinnie play drums. Pat singing. The bass player was there. Everybody's just fucking going crazy. And it was like, and we're doing shots. We're drinking. We're not even out of the parking lot yet. We're completely fucking hammered. Just cranking the shit. It was like a Beavis and Butthead moment. And I'm like, I can't believe I'm in a fucking limousine with Dimebag Darrell and Vinnie from Pantera, and they're fucking playing me their shit that's not even out yet. And this is before that metal show. I wasn't even on that show. That just shit didn't even start till 2008. So it's not even like they were kissing my ass. You know what I mean? Like, oh, this guy's on a TV show. Maybe he'll talk about our record or say it's good. None of that shit. So there was none of that shit involved. They were just big comedy fans and all that shit. And I guess, you know, they knew my shit from Crank Anchors and being on the Howard Stern show and stuff. But so then we head to the clubhouse, the strip club. We all get out of the limo, get in the club. We go in the back. There's a back table in the back. You hang out back there, and we just get completely fucking hammered. At one point, Dimebag goes, "Hey, man, follow me." He brings me up like in a back room, and we sat there with a bottle of fucking Crown Royal and drank the Crown Royal, and we talked music and comedy for about an hour and a half. It was probably the greatest hour and a half of my life. Sitting there with Dimebag Darrell, I'm asking him, you know, every question I ever wanted to ask him. He said, we're talking comedy. He was trying to get Zach Wilde on the phone. Because Zach, you know, was originally from New Jersey, and he's like, Zach, he's leaving messages at like fucking 2 a.m. Zach, I got this dude Florentine, man. I think you'd like him, man. You gotta hook up with this dude, man. He's a Jersey guy too. And I'm like, I can't believe, holy shit, he's gonna put Zach on the phone. But he's obviously wasn't there. He left him a message, and we just sat there and just fucking. He just told me about the music business, all this other shit. I just always remembered one thing he told me. He's like, dude, whatever you do, man, when the fans come out to a show, give them 100%. He goes, don't ever lay down. Even if you have a shitty night, you got in a fight with your chick. There's not a big crowd, whatever. You got to fucking, whoever paid for that ticket wants to see a show. Give them a show. It doesn't matter if there's 2 people there or 90,000. Give them a fucking show. They'll always remember it when there's a small crowd that you didn't just lay down and just give a half-hearted show. I always remembered that, man, because I used to always do these sets in New York City. I like on Tuesday night in front of like 4 people at like 11:30 at night. I'm like, ugh. Or just show up at some gig and there's like 10 people there on a Wednesday night. You know, I'm like, oh, this is going to suck, man. All right, let me just get this over with. Can I just, instead of doing 20 minutes, I'm just going to do like 10 minutes and get the fuck out of here. Instead, when I saw a small crowd like that, I would do more time if I could. I remember doing clubs where it would be like 8 people on like a Thursday night. They're like, look, you want to cancel a show? I'm like, no. All right, if you just want to do like, half of your, whatever time you're supposed to do, I go, I'm going to do an hour and a half for fucking 8 people. So that really, because they did this Moscow Peace Festival where there was 90,000 people. Pantera headlined this thing in the early 90s. And then they're back, basically starting over with a new band, booking a club tour, a rock club tour that holds, like 15, like 500 to 800 people back in the clubs after all of that to start again. So he's like, hey, man, that's what we got to fucking do to get back out there. We're going to start back where we, originally started with our band. So. But it was funny because we were talking, and the time just flew by, just us talking. And this is, I don't even think I had a cell phone then. I don't know, 2000, maybe I did, but it wasn't with me or something like that. My chick that I was with at the time, my girlfriend, thought I was cheating on her, like fucking a stripper in the back room because I was gone for an hour and a half. Or maybe I had my phone, but I wasn't picking up. I can't remember it, but I just know I was missing for an hour and a half, and she thought I was fucking around on her. I'm going to bring my girl to a strip club, and then I'm going to fuck a stripper while she's there. I mean, come on. I'm not that much of a scumbag. But I told her, I said, look, I was hanging at Dime. He brought me in the back. I'm not going to tell him, look, I got to go check on my chick, because she was hanging out with the other comics and the other comics' girlfriend, so I figured she was fine. It's not like I left her by herself. But I just remember that. She's like, oh, what, you're cheating on me. I'm like, I was fucking talking with Dimebag for an hour and a half. It was the fucking greatest thing ever. Relax. So then we'd just become friends. He would call me all the time. I'd call him and shit like that. And I remember, was it the first? I'm trying to think the first time I saw them guys live. Yeah, they were playing the Electric Factory. Is a venue in Philadelphia. And I drove down there to see him. And it wasn't a good idea, because if you're going to hang with Dimebag, you shouldn't have a car, because you're probably not going to make it home. So I remember I said, all right. I talked to him. I said, all right, you know what? I'll see you after the show. Because he'll only have like a shot before he goes on stage. He doesn't drink that much, but you just know, like after. He'll make you drink if you're not performing. So I knew if I saw him before, he was going to try to get me hammered. So I said, you know what, I'm just going to fucking lay low. I'll just see him after the show. So the key to hanging out with a guy that drinks that much is, and when he wants to have fun, so you have to drink with him, you have to keep up with him, is you never, don't drink before until you see him. Be completely sober because you're going to get fucked up quick. So don't even have any under your belt. Don't be 3 or 4 in already. So what I would do is I'd go to the friggin' I go to concession stand. I'd buy pretzels and friggin', and just friggin' soak up any hot dogs, hamburgers, and just have a bunch of food in my stomach to soak up all the booze, get completely full. So it would take me a lot longer to get fucking drunk. After the show, we're in the dressing room, in his dressing room, right? And the record label's there. The album's out. It's doing really well. The guys from the label came down and they're like, oh my God, this is great. We got to plan this. We're going to try to get you this gig. And they're basically talking business and kissing his ass. And Dimebag sees, he's like, hey, Florentine, do a shot. So he gives me a shot of Jaeger, right? He's like, you got to catch up. I'm like, no, I'm good. He goes, no, you got to catch up. He gives me a shot. Do another one. The Miller guy talking hands me another one. There's a bottle of Jaeger there. As soon as I'm done with it, give me the glass. Pours another one. I did 8 shots in 6 minutes of Jägermeister. I could barely stand. I'm ready to puke that I did that much. He just handed them to me. Do another one. Do another one. You got to catch up. Do another one. Do another one. So now I'm like, holy shit, this is, what the fuck just happened? So there's like 1 shot left in the bottle, and he pours. He goes, here. I go, now you take it. He goes, no, you take it. So I grabbed a shot from him. Like, I can't do this one. I can't do 9 shots in 7 minutes. There's no way. This isn't humanly possible. So he's talking to the record label guy, and he turns his back for a second. So I pull a friggin' high school move. We used to hide the drink because you didn't want to finish it. You'd pour it out, like cough and just pour it, or just fucking stick it to the side or pour the shot on the floor in the bar if you don't want to do a shot, or, if you're in high school, you just hide it behind something. So what I do is I take the shot and I hide it behind like some shit behind like a couch or something like that in the dressing room. And then I walk back over to my spot, and he looks at me and he's like, where's that shot? I go, I drank it. He goes, what do you mean you drank it? He goes, where? I go, I drank it. He goes, no, you didn't. I go, yeah, I did. I'm lying to the guy. He's like, no, you didn't drink it. Now he's searching the room for that fucking shot because he knows that I didn't drink it. So he senses it. It was unbelievable. What a pro he was. So he's moving all this shit around. Finally, he finds it behind the fucking couch or wherever I put it. He's like, what the fuck, man? What are you doing? And I didn't know what to say. And I'm just like, I go, look, I didn't want to drink alone. And without him missing a beat, he goes, George Thorogood drinks alone. And at that moment, it just made sense. George Thorogood drinks alone. How poetic. I'm like, yeah, you're right. And I did the shot. 9 shots in 7 minutes. And then we go on the bus, even more. We're on the tour bus, and they're ready. They have to leave at like, midnight or whatever like that, so they can't stay the whole night. They go on to the next city. So like midnight, I jump off the bus, and I'm in Philadelphia, almost 2 hours away from my house, around 2 hours away from my house. And I could barely even walk. I get in my car, and I parked on a side street near the venue. I got a spot on the street. I got in my car. I put the seat back, and I fucking I slept in my car till like 8 in the morning. Woke up, drool all over me. My chick was calling me like fucking 19 times on my phone. I didn't even pick it up. I was passed out. Called her when I woke up at like 9. I'm like, all right, look, I slept in my car last night. I got fucked up hanging out with Dimebag. I'll be home in a couple of hours. And she's like, don't you think you're a little too old to be sleeping in your car? What the fuck is wrong with you? And she was right. The last time I slept in my car was when I was like 17. And I was drunk. And I was in my 30s. And I'm fucking sleeping in my car. What a fucking great guy, man. I'll never forget it. He left me a message one time. He's like, it was like 11 in the morning. He's like, Florentine, it's time. I've been up drinking all night. It's 11 in the morning. I'm going to last about another hour, and then I'm going to be face down in flames. And then he just hangs up. It was fucking one of the... I'm like, that's the fucking greatest message I've... In another hour, I'm going to be face down in flames. Another time, I'm in Dallas, playing at the Comedy Club again, probably a year later. Me and Don Jameson, and he's having a birthday party. It's actually his birthday one of the nights we're playing. So we get invited to go to his house for his birthday party. There's going to be like, 50, 60 people there. So we can't get there till after our comedy show. So we're running a little late. Party starts at like 8. We don't get there about 10:30. We pull up there at 10:30. We walk in. Dimebag's already passed out at his own birthday party. He was out cold by like 9:15, they said. So there's 60 people in his house celebrating, and he's passed out in his bedroom. Drunk already. So we're like, all right, well, fucking, we're hanging anyway. It was unbelievable. Hanging in his house. They had a Jägermeister machine in the kitchen. And that wasn't just for the party. It was permanently there, a Jägermeister machine right in the kitchen. It was fucking beautiful. There's a big sign on the door. On the wall, there was a street sign that there was this famous story that him and Zach Wilde were drinking one morning or whatever. They were completely fucked up. It was like 8 in the morning. And a contractor came over, a friend that was working on a house, and he just bought like a new like SUV van or something like that. SUV truck. And he left the keys in it on the driveway because he went to go check on one of his workers. So Dime and Zach Wilde go outside and see the keys in the truck, and they go, let's take it for a fucking joyride. Brand new truck. It was his wife's truck, too. 5 days old. They start taking it through the neighborhood, driving on lawns, peeling out all over the place. They knocked a street sign over. They crushed the thing and like fucking, it looked like a pretzel after they hit it. Come back. They only went out for like 4 or 5 minutes, knocking mailboxes over, pull back up into the driveway. The whole thing, car is completely totaled. There's smoke coming out, fucking bumpers hanging off. Everything's dented. The windshield's broke. Luckily, the cops knew him from the town, whatever they said. They just said, don't worry about it. They just kind of looked the other way. They had to pay $50,000, those guys, out of their pocket to reimburse the guy for his truck, this 5-day-old truck. And they had the street sign that they completely twisted into a pretzel. Dimebag had it hanging on his wall in his living room, in his house. This big fucking metal pole with a green on the top with the street. And he's like, fuck that, man. This thing was, fuck that. It cost me $50,000 for that sign. I was well hanging on my wall. $50,000. The thing with Dimebag is like you couldn't. He loved to just hang and drink with people and just try to outdrink you or just have a drinking contest with you. Just go 1 for 1, and you would never win. Everybody was afraid of him because the guy was unbelievable. So there was this one story that there was this new band. I forgot who they were called. They were on tour with that band, Dime's band, Damage Plan, for like 2 weeks. So they get in town the night before. All the bands usually get in town the night before the first night of the tour. And the singer of the band says, hey, Dime, he goes, I hear you're a legendary drinker and stuff like that. You like to drink with people and have contests. I'll do it with you because I could drink, man. Everybody tells me nobody can drink more than me. And Dime's like, all right, fuck it, you're on. Within 2 hours, the guy got so drunk that he went missing. Everybody the whole band was looking for him. The road managers, all the band. All of a sudden, this guy is nowhere to be found for like 2 to 3 hours. Everybody's like, because he got so fucked up. And Dimebag is not even concerned that the guy's, that he's missing. He's like, where is that fuck he's hiding from? You see, Dime was already on top of it. He knew that guy was hiding from him. He's a pro, like he knew I hit that shot. So everybody else was nervous that the guy walked into fucking traffic or something like that. So come to like 2 hours later, there was like a car parked right next to the tour buses behind the venue. I don't know whose car it was, but he was passed out in the front seat from drinking so much with Dimebag. And somehow Dimebag found him, or someone did, and told Dimebag, look, he's passed out in the car right there 2 hours later. So what does Dimebag do? Doesn't wake him up, go, hey, man, get up, you okay? He goes into the fucking tour bus, gets a bottle of Jaeger, opens the car door, opens the guy's mouth as he's sleeping, and pours another shot of Jaeger down his throat. It's fucking beautiful. What a madman. Holy shit. So then Dimebag and Vinnie and Pat, the singer, they invited me. They were doing this little tour for 4 days up in Canada. One of the nights they were open for Slayer. And then there was like 3 nights they were doing their shows on their own, right outside of Toronto, around that area. I think first night was in Montreal, and then it was Toronto and somewhere else. So they said, hey, if you want to come on a tour bus with us for a few days, and maybe if you want to open some of the shows, do some stand-up before we come on, what the hell? So I'm like, holy shit, absolutely. So I fly up to Canada. The first night, it's Slayer. The Damage Plan is open for Slayer, and they said, look, man, you don't want to do comedy in front of Slayer fans. I'm like, yeah, you're right. Meanwhile, little I know, 7 years later, I go on tour with Slayer for a month. But at that time, like, no way, I don't want to get up there either. I want no part of that. So I just waited till they were doing their solo dates. But what happened that night is I flew up to Montreal, meet them there, and because that was going to be our first night on the bus. So Dimebag says, Florentine, you be ready, man. After the show, we're going fucking drink for drink. And you're going down. I'm like, all right, fine, man. I'll do it. I'll hang in there as long as possible. So what do? The same thing. While the band's on, I'm at the concession stand loading up on food, getting a nice base in, drinking a lot of water, getting hydrated, getting ready. They get off stage. He starts drinking. So we drank till they got off stage around 9. From 9 at night till about 3:30 in the morning, 6.5 hours drinking. I counted the drinks. I had a little pad with me, and I was fucking making marks. So I was like, I got to see how many drinks that me and Dimebag are doing together. We did 16 shots. It was most Jaeger. There was a couple other Crown Royal shots, and there's 16 shots and 8 beers in fucking 6 hours. And the thing with Dimebag, like when you're on a tour bus, they would have that shit Pedialyte in their tour rider. Pedialyte is that stuff for little kids to get hydrated if they got like diarrhea or some shit like that. So it hydrates you. It's basically like a Gatorade for kids. In their rider, they demanded, a case of Pedialyte a night from the promoter. Because what they would do at the end of the night, Dimebag would make everyone drink Pedialyte before they went to bed to hydrate so they wouldn't be as hungover in the morning. It's a fucking great move. I've been drinking, not Pedialyte, but like coconut water and shit like that. I drink at the end of the night after I'm drinking. Barely wake up with a hangover. So, and I got that from them guys. Now Vinnie drinks, Vinnie Paul Dime's brother drinks pickle juice. He said pickle juice is even better than Pedialyte. So now they send their roadie guy out when they get to town to get a bunch of fucking pickle jars, and they drink the juice out of it. And he said it's even better to keep you hydrated. So what would happen at the end of the night when everyone's going back to their bunks on the bus, like, wait a minute, everybody come up front, and he'd pour everybody Pedialyte and stand there and watch everybody drinking and make sure they drink it. Almost like, your dad and you have to take your medicine as a kid and make sure you swallow it. We had to drink like 2 cans of Pedialyte, everybody, before we hit the bunk so we wouldn't be hungover the next morning. It fucking worked like a charm. 16 shots and 8 beers, and I wasn't even hungover the next day. It also helped that I had like fucking 6 hot dogs, 2 hamburgers, and 3 pretzels before. But, what are you going to do? So, a week before Dimebag gets killed on stage, let me see. Yeah, it was about a week before. So me and Artie Lang, Artie's a good friend of mine from the Howard Stern show. He was on Howard Stern at the time. We were doing a gig down in Philadelphia, and they were doing a local gig in New Jersey at this club called Starland Ballroom. And I couldn't make it that night, and I was pissed. And Vinny and Dime were big Artie Lang fans. Artie really was a big Pantera fan. He likes some metal, but that shit's probably a little too heavy for him. So I convinced Artie on the way home from our gig from Delaware. I go, Artie, can we? Because I had to drop him off in Hoboken or something. So I said, Artie, is it all right if we stop at the Starland Ballroom for a second? I want you to meet these guys. They're big fans of yours. They want to do a shot with you. He's like, yeah, what the fuck? So luckily, it was actually like 5 days before he passed away. We popped in there, Artie did a shot with Dimebag and Vinnie. We did shots at them. And, it was late and they were getting on tour bus and had to leave. And just Dimebag goes, hey, Florentine, I'll see you in 4 days. Get ready. It's the last night of the tour. It's going to be fucking out of control. What happened was there was this big radio show concert. You know, like the local radio show puts these big concerts on with a bunch of bands. Well, it was this radio station in Kansas City. This guy, Johnny Dare, was on in the mornings there on 98 Rock. Great dude. Good friend. They do like a Christmas concert with a bunch of bands every year with 5,000 people. And Damage Plan was one of the bands. And that was going to be the last day of their tour. And me and Don Jameson were going to open for them and do some 10 minutes of comedy each. And we never did a venue like that before. We never opened for bands. So Dime and Vinny wanted us to do a show with them and open for them at this big, on the last night of the tour. And the radio station people had no problem with it either. So we had our flights booked. We were fucking so psyched. And we're going to hang with Dimebag. Last night of the tour, get completely fucked up. So, Florentine, I'll see you in 5 days. Get ready. That was the last time I ever talked to the dude. What happens is 3 nights later, 3-4 nights later, they're doing a gig, Columbus, Ohio. What is it, Alrosa? What the fuck is something Alrosa, something ballroom in Columbus. And like I said, some guy, some maniac, mentally ill. The story is, who knows, that he was mad because he thought that Vinny and Dimebag broke up the band Pantera, and he was pissed off, so he was getting revenge on him. And that's why he did what he did. Who knows? Some mentally ill guy was in the army for a little while, got discharged. His mom bought him a gun, thought, maybe if he had a gun and could shoot some stuff, go hunting and stuff like that, maybe it'd make him better. I don't know, whatever the fuck. Supposedly the guy was outside the tour bus, waiting for an autograph. And they usually do. They'll usually meet some fans if it's early enough. If they have to go on stage at 9 o'clock, and they pull up there at 5 or something like that. From 5 to 7:30, people are hanging outside. They'll go out and sign some autographs and take pictures and stuff like that. But I guess this guy was outside the bus, waiting and pacing back and forth, maybe a half hour before the show. And the road manager's look, they can't come out. They got to go on stage. Why don't you wait till afterwards? I'm sure they'll take a picture with you. So who knows if they would have just came out. I don't know. Maybe the guy would have shot him right there. But who knows if they would have came out and he would have said, hey, man, what do you need? Do you want a picture? And then, maybe the guy wouldn't have done what he did. Maybe he would have just been like, hey, dude, what's the problem, man? Did you guys break up Pantera? Can you get him back? And then maybe they could explain it to him. Look, we just had our differences and, we got sick of each other and we needed a break, and who knows what's going to happen down the road. And maybe that would have fucking calmed that guy down. I don't know. Possibly. But they break into their first song, and the guy just walks right through the front door. There's like a chick cashier probably just sitting there, taking $10 for the show or $20. He storms right by him. There's a bouncer that's half his size. He's like, hey, and the guy just keeps walking. And supposedly, there's a bunch of different stories, but the one that was in I guess the final report is whatever is the guy was so big, some of the bouncers were like, all right, you know what, let him just fucking jump off the stage, because they thought he was really going to go stage dive, and then we'll just throw him out, because he was walking pretty fast. And they didn't want to tackle a guy. I mean, all right, he didn't pay, but you're not going to fucking murder the guy. So, storms right up to the front, thinks, all right, let this guy just jump off stage, then we'll throw him out. Walks up there with a fucking jacket on, and he's got a gun under the jacket, and he just starts shooting away. And look, after he got Dimebag, and then somebody in the crowd. He got the road manager, which I knew the guy too. And then he got and I know, everybody says that he was going after Vinnie because Vinnie was behind the drums, his brother. Like he got Dimebag and then he wanted to get Vinnie, but people started jumping on him and pushing him out of the way, and he had to reload and all this shit. So they got Vinnie out of there and fucking brought him to the kitchen. Everything happened so quick. Like, so I got a text message from somebody like at like midnight that night, like, hey man, we think Dimebag's dead. There's been a shooting at a rock club. And we're like, what the fuck? And, this is like 2000. This is 2004. So it's not as, of course it's CNN and shit like that. But it's not as crazy as now where every 2 seconds you can get an update on everything. You know what I mean? Like there'll be out of all, 500 people in the club, everybody be on Twitter fucking giving you an update what's going on in the club and all that shit, or Facebook. None of that shit was going on, so it was tough to get any kind of, info. You got a little on CNN, there was a shooting, there's 3 people dead, we're not sure who it is. But I just remember the singer Pat sent me a text, and I think it was like a mass text to a bunch of his friends, like, holy shit, it's fucking insane in here. I'm okay. I don't know who else is. I got fucking escorted out of there by cops because I guess the cops, when they came there, they didn't know who the shooter was. They still weren't sure, so they just thought everybody was a suspect. So they just basically took everybody to the police station and hospitals and all this shit. So they separated everybody because they wanted answers. They didn't want anybody, talking and go, you say this, you say that. So Pat had no idea. He's like, I know people are dead. I'm not sure. I know Dimebag got shot. I have no idea what's going on. I'll try to keep you posted. That's the text I get at like 1 a.m. And the whole night I'm just at my computer just fucking refreshing like CNN, and there's a heavy metal website, blabbermouth.net. I'm refreshing that, just looking for information. Texting Pat, you hear anything? Anything? Please just keep me posted. Nothing, because I guess the cops took his phone too. Like 5:30 in the morning, he gets back to everybody. He's like, look, it's bad. I can't talk about it, but it's really bad. Like that, and that's the text I get from at 5:30 in the morning. Then everything, by the early morning, everything breaks that, it's official that he's gone. It was just unbelievable. And I remember I had the Howard Stern show started at 6 in the morning. I was already, still up, trying to get some info and stuff. And Artie Lang started talking about how, that was the first thing they talked about that morning, because it's like, holy shit, a guy in a rock band gets shot on stage. And Artie was saying, I just met this guy a week ago. I did a shot with him. Jim's good friends with him, and they called me to show. They go, can you just call in, just talk? And I don't like doing that shit, man. I lay low with that stuff. I don't want to think that I'm just capitalizing. Oh, good, it's the perfect time for me to speak. I'm definitely not that guy, but it was like, I'm up, and I'm like, all right. So I just called in, talked. I was like, I don't know what happened. It's fucked up, and, At first, we were like, oh, man, maybe like Dimebag was fucking this guy's chick, and he got mad, and he killed him. And that was the rumor, like, in the beginning I was hearing. I'm like, absolutely not. That one, he had the same girlfriend since high school, Rita. And he knew her since the 3rd grade. Great chick. Never would do anything like that. That was one thing about him, man. He was a loyal dude. Never fucked around on the road. So that wasn't it. But, it came out what it was. The guy was just fucking nuts, obviously. December 8th. I remember that, man, because that week, in 1 week, I had 3 people that I knew pretty close die in 1 week. It was fucking insane. My sister-in-law's brother, who I was good friends with, worked with for years on construction sites, good dude, just dropped of a heart attack at 37 years old, married with 3 kids, fucking horrendous, out of the blue. Then like 2 days later, a good family friend, the father passed away. Knew them since first grade. And then Dimebag like the next day. It went to 3 funerals that week. Because what happened was, I guess you had to get invited to Dimebag's funeral, and I actually got invited. And I had to go, man. I'm like, you have to go pay respects. I had to. So me and Don Jameson flew out to Dallas for the funeral. And it's unbelievable. I just couldn't believe that everyone's there just like, what the fuck? Jerry Cantrell from Alice in Chains and Mike Inez, the bass player from Alice in Chains, came out. They were at the funeral, and at the wake, they went up and did an acoustic version of the song "Brother" and "Got Me Wrong," the Alice in Chains songs for Dimebag. It was fucking every day. Anytime I hear those songs, I get chills. Just thinking about that. Those 2 guys going up there and singing those songs to Dime. If you listen to those songs, man, you're like, holy shit. Especially off the Alice in Chains Unplugged. The MTV Unplugged version. But they went up there, sang those songs. Dimebag was a huge Kiss fan. He had an Ace Frehley tattoo, I think, on his calf or something. I think that's where it was. Had a big Kiss room at his house, Kiss pinball machine and everything like that. He got buried in a Kiss casket. Gene Simmons actually donated the casket, and they buried Dime in the Kiss casket. And one of the greatest things ever, and Vinnie was telling me the story later, his brother, about a month before he passed away, Van Halen was playing in Dallas. That's the reason Dime picked up a guitar, is because of Eddie Van Halen. And he never met Eddie before. And they were playing in Dallas, and Dime and Vinnie were home, and they went to the concert. They knew Sammy Hagar, so they got hooked up through Sammy. This is when Sammy was in the band. They got hooked up through Sammy, and they fucking went and saw Van Halen and hung out with Eddie Van Halen, took him back to the clubhouse that night and hung out with him all night, and just became like best friends with the guy. It might have been like for 4 months before Dime passed that he was. Dime said they would talk every day on the phone and shit like that, and just became really good buddies. And that was like Dime's dream, to meet Eddie Van Halen. And Vinny Dime even said it like on the way home. He goes, man, if I die tomorrow, I'm happy that I fucking hung with Eddie Van Halen, and he's a fan of mine and all this shit. So Eddie actually came to the funeral too. And Eddie donated, put the guitar that he's pictured on the back cover of Van Halen 2. He put that actual guitar in the Dime's coffin. That's fucking really cool that he did that. I mean, that's off Van Halen 2, that iconic guitar, laid it in the casket for Dime. It was just fucking crazy, man. And, the other guys in Pantera, Phil, the singer, and Rex, the bass player, they were obviously fighting because they broke up the band and all this stuff, and they didn't want those guys at the funeral. And they were in the band with them for friggin' 12 years or something like that, even though they had some, differences and they were broken up. They wanted to come to the funeral, and Rex actually came, and they let him go up there and speak for a few minutes, but they would not let. I didn't notice at the time; I had no idea. But Phil, actually, the lead singer of Pantera, actually came out and talked about it a couple years later in the press, that he was in town in Dallas. He's living in New Orleans. That's where he's from. Flew to town, and they would not let him come. They said, "You better not come to the funeral." And he was fucking waiting in his hotel room trying to get there. And he just knew, all right, they don't want me. I can't fucking go. But he's like, I'm coming to Dallas anyway. And they kept talking. He's like, come on. And they said, you better not fucking show up at that funeral. So he was in town, and they just wouldn't let him. There was just a lot of bad blood there, man. Vinny was pissed. He broke up the band. Supposedly, Phil wouldn't get back to him. They were calling to get band back together. Phil was blowing them off, but Phil was having some other problems. So I don't know. It was all this fucking drama, but never let the guy in. And now, 10 years later, there's just every day people are beating the drum for a Pantera reunion with Zakk Wylde playing on guitar, filling in for Dimebag, because the other three guys are obviously still alive. There'd be if Pantera got back together with Zakk Wylde, they'd be doing arenas. It would be a huge tour. People would go fucking crazy because Zach and Dimebag were like best friends. So that's the thing. Like, if anyone could do it, it would be Zakk Wylde. Not just some like unknown guitar player to play for Dimebag, but since they were buddies, that's the guy to do it. And this shit's been going on, the rumors and people talking about it in the press for probably 6-7 years now. And Vinnie Paul won't do it. He's like, nope, that band's done, man. The band Pantera's with my brother Dimebag. He's not here anymore. Vinny's got his own band, Hell Yeah. They put 4 records out so far. They're always on tour. They're doing well. Phil's doing his thing. But everybody but Vinny would do the Pantera reunion. And Vinny's like, nope, I'm not doing it. I'm staying loyal to my brother, man. It's not Pantera without my brother. And it's weird because, when Pantera first came, they had like 1 or 2 albums out. This is before they even had any kind of notoriety, just a local, basically a Texas band. Dave Mustaine from Megadeth offered a guitar gig in Megadeth to Dimebag. He's like, dude, I need a guitar player. You want to be in my band? And it would have been a huge move for Dimebag, just as a local guy playing the local clubs. People just knew him in Dallas and that, surrounding area, to playing in Megadeth. And Dimebag goes, hey, man, my brother, I'm in a band, my brother Vinny. You need a drummer, too? Because I play with Vinny, my brother. And Mustaine's like, nah, I don't need a drummer. I just need a guitar player. You want the gig? He goes, nah, man, I can't take it without my brother because I play with my brother. If you had the drum gig, we join. That's fucking loyalty. When you're in a band, you don't know if you're going to make it. You have no idea if you can even make it out of Texas. You don't know how big Pantera is going to be. And you go, now, I'm not going to join your huge band because I play with my brother and I can't leave my brother. So, that probably factors into a lot with Vinny. Like, man, he could have easily left me and fucking left me hanging and joined Megadeth, and he didn't do it. And Vinnie Paul's a really good dude, man. I got to know him, really well. He's just a real fucking great guy, man. One of the nicest guys in the business, just like his brother. Dimebag's wife, Rita, great chick, phenomenal. All of them, just like family. Once you meet them once, you're like family for the rest of your life, man. And Vinny's doing well, man. He's like, fuck that, man. He's got businesses going on. He still owns the clubhouse in Dallas, and he just doesn't want to do it. And, people get pissed at him, and they ask him the same question over and over again. What about Zakk Wylde on guitar? He's like, no, man. I feel bad for him that people keep asking him the same question. If he wants to do it, he's just going to do it, And he just gets a lot of pressure from people. He's like, fuck it, man. I got my own band. I'm good. So, yeah, it's just too bad, man. Because the thing is, like, if Dimebag was still alive, Pantera would be back together. They would have got back together at some point. They would have worked out the differences, and there'd just still be a Pantera for at least for a while. Maybe they would have broke up again. Who knows? But there definitely would have been another Pantera version, But didn't do it, man. It's a shame, man. It's been 10 years. It fucking went by quick. And I only knew the guy for 2 years, but it was almost like I knew him my whole life. Just a fucking funny guy. Just want to make people laugh. Love being up on stage. Love the fans. Love drinking. Love just having a good time, pulling pranks. I remember there was the Pantera home videos are legendary. Them fucking around and pulling pranks. When I was on tour up in Canada, it was like a local Canadian band opening for Damage Plan. So we get to the venue at 3 p.m. We're just hanging out. We go backstage, just hanging, and we see a sign on the door for this band. Let's call them Sinbad, the band. So there's a sign on and that's their dressing room. It just said Sinbad dressing room. So Dimebag's like, who's this? And they're like, oh, it's the opening band. He goes, oh, this is all right, great. He takes a sign off the door and puts it on the men's room, Sinbad dressing room. Cut to 2 hours later, the band shows up and they're walking around, and we're like looking around a corner, just fucking like 3-year-olds laughing, and they're like, what? This is our fucking dressing room? In the bathroom? What the fuck? And they just went in there, and they're hanging in the fucking men's room. And about 20 minutes later, they're all in there, and Dime walks in, and I'm behind them because I got to see what their reaction. And they're all in like the middle of changing. The drummer's fucking playing the drums on the wall in the bathroom next to the urinal. And Dimebag's like, hey, man, what the fuck are you guys doing in here? I got to take a shit. And they're like, okay. He's like, what are you guys doing? They're like, this is our dressing room. He's like, in the bathroom? And they're like, yeah, that's where the sign said. There's our dressing room. He's like, well, I got to take a shit, so you got to get out of your dressing room then. They're like, okay, no problem, man, no problem, no problem. They were like, holy shit, Dimebag's talking to us. And they're like ready to walk out. He's like, dude, I'm only fucking with you. I put that sign up there. Your dressing room's right down here. And they're like, holy shit. And he's like, man, I hope I didn't fuck you guys over, man. I hope you don't think I'm a dick. They're like, you pranked us. No, we love that you did that you thought that much of us, that you would prank us. And then he told the band, he goes, hey, man, at the end, we're going to do their famous song, Walk, on the encore. Why don't you guys come up and sing it with us and play guitar? So he had the opening band that he never met, knew him for fucking 2 minutes. Say, hey, man, go up on stage and jam with them for their classic song. That's the kind of dude he was. You aspire to be a guy like that. You know what I mean? To treat people like that and just be a fucking good dude. All right. So, I hope you enjoyed it. Most people, you might not even know who he is, whatever. But I just feel like the guy needs some respect. You should really go back and listen to the Pantera records. Check some shit out because you might really get into it if you're not into metal. Also, this project he did called Damage Plan. They did one record. I love the record. Newfound Power, it's called. Great record. But definitely check out a phenomenal guitar player. I mean, going down as one of the greats, influenced so many friggin' people. And Pantera was so heavy. They were the first band to have like a real metal record as a #1 record on the Billboard charts. Far Beyond Driven. That one went to #1 when it was all fucking pop acts and shit like that. And Pantera out of nowhere. With no song could be played on the radio at the time because it was so fucking heavy. The radio wouldn't touch these guys. These guys were playing arenas with no radio airplay at all. And that's when that's how you got people to buy your fucking tickets and sell out concerts by being played on the radio. It's different now. You get around that shit, but no radio airplay, #1 album, fucking so heavy. The heaviest album, I mean, I guess, there's been heavier albums since, probably. I can't think of any, right? The Slipknot records that have hit #1 and stuff like that. But, I mean, at that time in the 90s for a fucking thrash metal band, their heaviest record to date hits #1 on the Billboard charts. Just so fucking cool. So check out the Pantera stuff. Check out Damage Plan if you get a chance. There's also a video. If you get a chance, go on YouTube. Zakk Wylde, Black Label Society. Look up Black Label Society, and the video is called In This River. And it's a tribute to Dimebag. He released it like 6 months after Dime's death, and he plays it pretty much every night in a set. And it's a whole thing about like their little kids. You'll see it. They're little kids, and then they grow up and all the shit they're hanging. It's a really fucking cool video, man. Just about him dying, how they were just good buddies, and he lost his good buddy. It's fucking powerful, a video. In This River, Black Label Society. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish off with a song. So what happened was after Dimebag passed away, there was talk that they were going to release. There was a song on the Damage Plan record called... oh shit! I can't remember what the hell it was called. Well, I'll look it up as I'm talking. But so the thing with Dimebag is like he had the #1 record. He played in front of 90,000 people. Did all this shit. You know what I mean? Played Madison Square Garden. All these, pretty much every accomplishment, but he never had a number one single. Not that, radio would play it and shit like that, but just never had like a number one rock single. That was the one thing he was missing. So they said, hey, maybe there's a song called Soul Bleed. So there was talk that it's an acoustic song with Zakk Wylde singing backup vocals. Last track of that Damage Plan record. Really good song. They were thinking about releasing that as a track and then saying, hey, man, and giving all the money to Dimebag's foundation that they set up, this music foundation for like a bunch of like music gear for kids that can't afford it and shit like that. It was a really good foundation. I forget what it was, but they were going to give all the money to that, anyone that bought the single. But it never happened. And I probably would have went number one on the rock radio charts if they would have done it, but for some reason they didn't release it. So I'm going to play that song. It would have been a really cool song to release right after he passed away. So this one's for Dimebag. We'll see you guys next week. There's a song called Soul Bleed. Check it out.